This whole model took living form in the person of Jesus. The sanctuary had always told us in what manner he who substituted for us would die. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he hath borne our griefs, and carried our sorrows. Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. All we, like sheep, have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way, and the Lord hath laid on him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed, and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before her shearers is dumb, so he openeth not his mouth. He was taken from prison and from judgment. And who shall declare his generation? For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgression of my people was he stricken. And he made his grave with the wicked, and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence, neither was any deceit in his mouth. God created the world for man, adorning it with nature and filling it with life. The universe lived in peace with the laws of God's government, the law of freedom, according to James 2:12. All these things, including life, were rejected when man disobeyed God and broke his law. Man chose to die. Misfortune took over the world created by God when man fell into disobedience. However, a substitute for man was sacrificed instead. Ceremonial law was now a necessity and was fulfilled by Jesus, who was nailed to the cross, along with all those ceremonies and rituals. We cannot do away with heaven's laws by nailing them to the cross, because they are the foundation for God's kingdom. On the Day of Atonement, the sanctuary also shows the judgment of Satan. Remember that on this day, the Day of Atonement, a festival was held, where it was a requirement to afflict oneself or to worry. To worry because if the people were going to be forgiven, they had to accept that the male goat, representing Jesus, be sacrificed to suffer for their sins. Not following this procedure, or not reflecting on its meaning, meant that you would have to pay for your own sins personally, instead of permitting Jesus to do it for you. It was like telling God that you did not want His favor and forgiveness. This is how Leviticus describes it in chapter 23, 28-29. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Lord your God. For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. This is what has been in effect since the fall of man in the Garden of Eden, from the year 4004 BC until today, 2,000 years after his first arrival. If an Israelite did not confess his sins, he would die. And today, the true priest is interceding while you decide for him, so that you do not die. Jesus knows that Satan tries to seduce you with this world's passing charms. Satan has also instituted false churches which are very good at imitating what the Bible says, but that would increase your distance from God. Religious ways that appear pious but are ineffective, and faith without works. Entering the holy place daily symbolizes Jesus' constant intercession in our favor.